With all the fabrication I do, I found that the couple times I've needed to bend metal, either 1/8 inch, and really haven't been able to bend anything thicker than that. I've had to cut slots on the plasma table at intervals in order to make the metal bendable. And I do have this finger brake here, but it's limited to, well, it says 22 gauge, and I'm assuming that's for the full 30-inch width. So it would bend somewhat thicker metal at narrower sections. But most of the work I do is, it's fabrication. I got my dogs here. In 1/8 inch, 3/16, 1/4 inch, 3/8, a lot of 1/4 inch and 3/8. I've avoided having to do any major bending by cutting pieces and welding them at 90 degrees or whatever's necessary. But it would be nice to be able to bend thicker metal, without having to heat it red hot. I've done that a couple times too with oxyacetylene. But so I've been thinking about that, and I have, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I got this 20-ton hydraulic press at an estate sale, and I've got this guy following me around in here. So so the thing that's limited on bending metal, of course, is the force that can be applied and the tooling. So I'm thinking there's a way to use this hydraulic press to bend metal, and I think I've come up with the answer. So we're going to get into a real hydraulic finger brake here. Stick around. Square it up with the parallel. Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Frank here. I've got a different project today. Just taking a break from the forklift build, if you've been watching that series. I recently got, and I covered in a video couple weeks ago, a Harbor Freight 20-ton hydraulic press. And I saw someone else on YouTube who found a finger brake attachment for that press that allowed you to bend, much heavier gauge, much heavier steel plates, sheet metal than my combination roll press brake and shear machine. So I ordered this kit, and it came the other day in 2 boxes. It's from Swag Off-Road, and they have several different kits. This is just the standard finger brake. They also have a heavy-duty finger brake. I actually didn't know they had 2 different kinds, but I ordered this one, and it came in 2 boxes, and I'll show you what's included. So there's a couple of guide pins and sleeves with some springs which work the brake. There's a couple of bars which hold the fingers, and they give you a set of fingers. It looks like about a, I don't know, 9 or 10 inch and a 3 inch and a, or 4 inch, 3 inch, 2 inch, 1 inch, something like that. So an assortment of milled blocks that fit into this holder. I'll give you a bag of bolts to bolt that together. And we've got Brutus here coming in for some attention. So you're going to let me play with my new toy here? I don't know, Daddy, I want some pets. He's such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Yeah, what a good puppy. Okay. And then they give you the, I guess it's the die or the part of the press, and I don't know what you call it, the channel that the fingers go down into. So that's what this is, 2 pieces, piece of 1/4 inch angle, and then a frame that it fits into. The pins get welded in these holes, and so we're going to put this together. The other gentleman I saw on YouTube did it, and he TIG welded the whole thing, and I thought, well, that would be a good chance for me to practice my TIG welding, but to be honest with you, I need to work on my TIG welding skills before I get into trying to TIG weld this. So I'm going to just use my MIG welder, put this together. They give you what look like pretty nice instructions. So they've got the 20-ton standard duty finger brake, which is what I got. There's a non-finger style brake. There's a 12-ton brake. There's a heavy-duty 20-ton heavy-duty finger brake, and then regular press brake. So the only difference is the size of this channel and the angle iron that fits in this channel. And it looks like we've got pretty good instructions, pretty good pictures. So everything looks pretty straightforward. Here it is assembled. The frame underneath, the channel, the fingers, and then they give you a guide for repeatable cuts, I guess, repeatable bends. Alright, so it looks like they've got some additional things you can buy from them. Okay, we'll get started, put this thing together. So I've squared up these two pins to the base plate, and I can use a square in here. I have it clamped to the table now. Was using a hammer to align these, and I found that one of the easiest ways to do it, since there's not enough space in here to get a square, is to put a parallel and then square it up with the parallel like that. So I've got both of these pins squared up now in both directions. I can do it over here behind the pin, behind this pin, squared to the table, and they're pretty darn close. So that's one of the things that is important, they say, is to make sure that these are square to the base plate. So I've got them. Next thing is supposed to tack the underside of the pins. So they're supposed to be approximately halfway through. It's a little bit more than half. That's a little bit more than half, but I think it's close enough. Tack them, double check them for squareness, and then fully plug weld them. Since the tack welds protrude a little bit from here, it won't sit flush on the table, so I'm using these as spacers. They allow me just to double check they're square this way. Just check from behind. That one's still square. And that one's still square. Alright, so I'll go ahead and finish plug welding these, and the instructions are then to grind it smooth. The next task is to tack weld these centering ears in this pin in the notch there. So I'm assembling the top finger holder together. As you can see, this is L-shaped, and there's a clamping bar on the other side. The instructions are to weld the tube to this large L-shaped section. So the guide tubes, these guide tubes are to be centered on the fingers. All right, the instructions say be careful not to get weld spatter on the machine surfaces, or you'll interfere with the fingers or this clamping plate attaching to the L-shaped beam. So we'll tack it in a couple places, and then we need to make sure that these tubes slide over the pins which we previously welded. You just square these tubes up. How's my brew doing, huh? Come in to visit me again? Sit. That's a good boy. You're my good boy. You're my good boy. My good puppy. Yeah. Okay, going outside. So it's important that these pins slide through these tubes easily, and I'm a little bit off square here. I think my tubes are not square, so, and I have to check the pins as well. That's a little bit out of square. Huh. So this pin, even though it was square when I first welded it. You can see it's a little bit out. All right, I'm gonna give that a little tap because the tubes are pretty square. The one over here is exactly square. This one is off just a hair, but I think I need to adjust this a little bit. Now that's square. All right, let's see if we can get this one squared up a little bit. All right, so that's all it took. The next step is to weld these two little carriage bolts inside the frame here. There we go. So I've installed a couple of the fingers, and the purpose of that is to center what they call the die, which is this angle iron, and to make sure that the points of the fingers go down into the bottom of this channel. So now it's just a matter of welding this. They want you to weld it full length, and start and weld a couple inches on one side, then go to the other side and gradually fill in both sides. All right, now that this is welded the full length on both sides, I can tell that it has warped the bottom die this way. So, you know, the weld shrinks, and maybe that's not so surprising. We may be able to straighten it out on the press. We'll see about doing that if we have to. Maybe when it cools down it will go back. But right now, because it's warped in an arc, and you can see it kind of pivots on the center point there, these two pins are now tight in these sleeves because they've moved together at the top. So they're touching the inside of the sleeves on here and here. All right, can't do anything about it right now. Too hot. We'll let it cool, see what the final result is once it's cool. And if we have to, we'll turn it upside down and we'll push on this and we'll straighten it out with the hydraulic press if we have to. See what it takes. All right, so we'll come back after it cools off. So I've got the brake upside down in here. I'm going to try to straighten this rod, straighten this base. Looks like that. Straightened it. Those fingers. Alright, that looks good. So I must have a little bit of interference here between this weld. I can feel a little speck on there between this weld and the clamping plate that's keeping it from clamping tight. I don't feel it over here, but I'm going to get the grinder and just touch these spots up a bit, make sure there's clearance. I'm having trouble with the clamping bar, clamping this last finger into this bar. Instructions talk about potentially needing to make sure there's clearance here for the clamping bar. So we'll try this again. All right, I've got the ring centered on the bar here, And the instructions say make sure you only weld it to this large bar, not to the clamping bar, otherwise you'd never get the clamping bar off to change your fingers. So I'm just going to run a little bead around here and around here, and that's just to guide the ram when you apply pressure. They give you a couple additional components here. This attaches to the back. So that you can make repeatable bends. I'm not going to put that on right now. I'm anxious to take this over to the press and see what it'll do. And then we'll back out this set screw so that it doesn't get in the way. So here's just a piece of scrap 1/4 inch hot rolled plate. That worked great. I actually bent it a little bit beyond 90 degrees, I think. And that was pretty much effortless. So I think this could be classified as a complete success. Instructions say that it will bend 3/8 inch, like a 6-inch piece or something of 3/8 inch, and then a wider piece of 1/4 and a wider piece of 1/8 inch. Not sure what it will say. In any case, it's I would say it's a complete success. It works great, and it was almost effortless. I mean, it was very little effort required to bend that piece of 1/4 inch. So that adds an additional capability to the shop, bending some heavier sheet steel. I'm glad to have that. Of course, this is not sponsored. I paid my own money for this finger brake attachment, but it's works as advertised. So it's swagoffroad.com. I think I bought this one off eBay. I think that's where, if I remember correctly, I think it was an eBay purchase. So it was the easiest place to find it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Little quick video, maybe not so quick video on relatively inexpensive. It was $350 or something like that. So not too bad, and it is pretty well put together, I think, in terms of the components they gave you, suitable for the intended purpose. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Inside the frame here. and to make sure that the points of the fingers go down into the bottom of this channel. I can tell that it has warped the bottom die this way.